know that thou can protect them and watch over them and continue to be with them. We pray thou will be with the leaders of our land, Lord, that they will lean upon thee to make the decisions that are right for us, that they will turn away from things that are not right, and that they will turn towards thee and continue to try to put us on the road that we should be on. We humbly pray that will watch over Beth Ann and her family and continue to be with them. And we are so grateful for them and for Rudy and the work that they do to spread the truth on the airwaves of the country. We are grateful for them. We ask you to be with us always. And we say these things in the sacred name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Well, it is Earth Day, and we're gonna have Earth Day fun. We're gonna talk about it. I don't know about you, but I'm not seeing the protesters out there today. Maybe the professional protester class. I don't know. Maybe the ICE protesters hired them all away. I'm a former BLM protesting employee, and then I protested the wall for Earth Day, and now my commensurate experiences, I protest ICE. That's probably, like, if you look on their LinkedIn, that's probably what they'll find. But obviously, Iran is all over the news, so we're going to spend the first little segment talking about that, and then we're going to get into a whole bunch of fun, I think, for Earth Day. But here's the question. I'm trying to, and people smarter than me are doing, but I'm trying to keep up with Iran, and I think I'm not the only one there. When we think about when's the ceasefire end, what's it going on, is Strait of Hormuz closed, is it not closed, who took this tanker, who took that tanker, what's going on with the peace talks, is J.D. Vance leaving, is he not leaving, who's he going to talk to? And let me just try to put this into a little context that it may make sense to me, and let me preface this with saying this is near entire speculation on my part. I'm trying to take an educated guess here at what I think is going on, because I've seen online a little bit of the disconcerting discussion of President Trump, what's he doing? He doesn't know, Iran, why is he negotiating with these guys? These guys are terrible. And let me just float something out there. And I gotta be honest, I've never worked in intelligence work. In fact, the word intelligence is never really associated with me in any way, shape, or form. But let me just float something out there. Imagine, for you will, a scenario that you are the dictatorial head of a country or a regime, and you've seen your supreme leader killed. You've seen your military leaders killed. You've seen people that were in power for decades no longer with us because they had a missile with their name on it, courtesy of the red, white, blue. And now the president of that country is saying, let's negotiate, but you better meet my demands. And you have some hardliners in your country saying, we will never meet their demands. I don't care what it does to our country. I don't care what it does to my life. I don't care about anyone's life. I just care about not giving into the United States. And you would ask yourself, well, why would the United States negotiate with that type of situation? I would argue, wouldn't it be interesting, would it not be fulfilling to even see who Iran sends to negotiate on their behalf? Can't you learn a lot from that? Can't you learn maybe who is really in charge? Are they really calling the shots? And Iran, I get it, they're being very bolsterous right now. We're not even going to negotiate, and we're going to, that's exactly what I would say if I was in those crazy regime shoes as well. But think for a moment, maybe they don't have anybody to negotiate. Maybe the people that they would send, they're worried that they'll make a deal with Donald Trump that they don't want the regime to make a deal with. And maybe, just maybe, they don't want Donald Trump knowing that they don't really know who's in charge of their own country, that they're playing it by ear. I've heard the same things that you have, that, you know what, the hardliners are raising up, and that's why boats are taking over tankers, and maybe that's true. I have no reason to believe it's not. I have no reason to believe it is, other than I've seen it on the news, and I don't believe it I see on the news. But it's really interesting when I see this discussion about how is he still negotiating. It's like, you have to think like a businessman. If you're trying to see who is really in charge and what is really happening, keeping the door open to negotiation is a window to that. But I did want to share this article. This is from CNBC, so take with that what you will. And I didn't know this was going on, but maybe you did. There was apparently some kind of conference going on in Singapore. Never been. Here it's lovely. Draconian, yes, but lovely. And so here's the article. Should a war break out between China and the United States, let that sink for a moment, in the Pacific, this is what the Singapore foreign minister and the Singapore foreign minister, his first name is Vivian. I mean, I'm not smart in Singaporean names, but Vivian would not make my top 10. I'm just saying. Vivian Korean said yesterday, or excuse me, Wednesday, but it's really yesterday for us, because it's already yesterday there. So he said, what you're seeing now, or I don't know, what you're seeing in the Strait of Hormuz will be a dry run for potential war between the U.S. and China. They made their remarks at the event responding to a question as to whether the state of Singapore was facing any pressure from Washington and Beijing to choose between the two. The relationship that they have with both countries is pretty strong. The U.S. is Singapore's largest foreign investor. Around 6,000 American companies are based in Singapore. And you can know why, right? Say it with me. It's taxes. That's why they're there. Good time. Gavin Newsom doesn't understand that process, but the rest of us do. Singapore also runs a goods trade deficit with Washington to the tune of about $3.6 billion. That's according to U.S. government stats. And so I share that with you, all that to bring this discussion and focus on it, because when you look at things like the Strait of Hormuz, you start to see like this life that we have, that the world has. It relies on this global choke point. And there's really only, let's be honest, there's really only one country on the planet, as of right now, who can say, we're going to exert power on those choke points. Iran can on the Strait of Hormuz. Geography blessed them with that opportunity. But there's a whole lot more. And the Strait of Hormuz is, I think every American knows and has known for decades, is strategic, no doubt about it. But there's more. So this Singaporean foreign minister also said that the conflict in the Middle East has shown that choke points matter, pointing out that Singapore also set describe the world's critical trade arteries from the Strait of Malacca. I had to look it up too. Don't worry about it. But what I'm talking about here is look at it not just in the context of even just Iran. Think of the world as a chessboard. How would a businessman look at that chessboard if he was trying to gain advantage for our country? Venezuela, Cuba, Iran, all of them supply what? They all support China. Hey, it's Earth Day. We're going to get into it here in a little bit. You're listening to CSC Talk Radio. Larry Behrens in for Beth Ann. Stick with us.
goods are under attack by radical environmental groups. Power of the Future is advocating for their jobs and American energy. Daniel Turner is Executive Director of Power of the Future. Daniel is an expert in energy and environmental issues as they pertain to jobs, rural communities, the U.S. economy, international affairs, and our national security. If the radical environmentalists have their way, our natural resources will be less available and less affordable. Power of the Future is a sponsor of CSC Talk Radio. We advocate for American energy independence and national security. Visit powerofthefuture.com and let's work together to keep the lights on and bring America home.
Welcome back. Happy Earth Day to you.
And I don't mean it ironically. We're having some fun today. Not the kind of fun that Bernie Sanders and AOC would like us to have, because we're going to be telling the truth, and that's something that they're pretty much allergic to. But, Earth Day, for those who don't know, and this audience knows, but it was started around 1970, 1971, so it's been around for a hot minute. It's even older than the Iranian regime. How about that? And so, it has been pushed ever since I've been alive. And I remember in school and in college, it was a focal point type of a day. I guess it's probably Christmas if you're eco-leftist, because they don't believe in God, so they focus on Earth Day. But my boss, Daniel Turner, has a piece on FoxNews.com today talking about 3 big signs the climate movement is running out of gas. I like the title because the climbers have 2 reasons to be upset with it. One, he accuses them of running out of gas, and that they're doing their job. They don't like the gas. Anyway, it goes on to say, California data last July indicated that economic growth comes not in spite of clean energy, but because of it. Now he's including his administration's role to responsibly increase oil production. That happened within 2 years. America, I would argue, if we look back in history 10 years from now, people are going to wonder what killed the climate movement. Well, I would say the Obama administration killed the climate movement. When they had the opportunity to do whatever they wanted for 4 years, and Americans saw the results. And never again do they want to go down that road. So here are 3 big signs the climate movement is running out of gas. Number 1, EV demand near non-existent. During the Biden administration, the push for switching to electric vehicles was everywhere. They got great. If you bought an EV, it was a good little scheme, right? So as a taxpayer, you had to subsidize building an EV, and then you had to subsidize some rich person buying the EV. And so you got charged both costs. That's pretty much how the green movement works. It's about the green movement. Nothing to do with it. All of these cars and light trucks sold to qualify as zero emission by 2035. We're almost there. This is 9 years. In June 2022, as we all know, gas prices soared. Michigan Senator Debbie Strongbow, a Democrat, announced it didn't matter how high gas prices went. She drove a EV. That's right, take that, you dudes. I'm crucifying my EV. How come? 2024, the EV automakers in Strongbow's home state lost a combined $52 billion on EVs. That's higher than their entire combined net profit. And think about that. So when the government pumps billions of dollars to build them, that is the government giving you tons of money to lift up that bottom line, even if they still lost more than all their profits. It is absolutely insane. And remember, Joe Biden shot the Michigan to pull off with Ford's new F-150 Lightning all-electric truck, facing flagging demand. Okay, this is what... Yeah, you put this in here to I think, push by UPS. The Ford F-150 is an iconic vehicle. And if you were to ask anyone what vehicle symbolizes America, they'd probably pick the Hummer from like the First Gulf War. But then the Ford F-150 would be there. The Ford F-150 is the best-selling vehicle, not car, vehicle in the United States, I think since the 70s. It is iconic. and then they took it and Frankensteined it into an EV. And lo and behold, nobody bought it. They've already ceased production. That was 2 to 3 years. I think the Microsoft Zoom, the iPod competitor, lasted longer than the Ford F-150. I think CNN Plus lasted longer than the Ford F-150. Joe Biden, mental capacity lasted longer. And so, when we look at one of the reasons, EVs is gone. It's a big one. Another one. Here's the one that may have escaped you. Communist Cuba bailed out by Russian oil. So the conflict in Iran has overshadowed the point of Cuba amid more than 6 decades of misery under a communist regime in the life of dictator Nicolas Maduro. Here's the backstory on that. When Maduro was being protected, his guards, Venezuela, they were almost entirely from Cuba. Why? Because he was keeping Cuba alive with their oil. I'm telling you, President Trump doesn't just do a move for just one reason. He's looking at it as the chessboard that's out there. And so, since Maduro's been gone, the oil to Cuba has stopped, and we're talking blackouts on the island nation lasting 20-plus hours a day. It was so bad. Here it is. Cuba relies on oil and gas for more than 90% of its electricity, compared to just 2% for renewables. The situation got so dire that President Trump, often maligned by his critics for so-called lack of empathy, allowed a Russian oil tanker to reach Havana knowing that they had to survive. They literally needed it to survive. But what was interesting was when Greta took to the internet to ask Donald Trump to let it win. Work with me now, kids. Who is the world's #1 producer of solar panels and windmills? China is the correct answer. China, communist nation. Cuba, communist nation. Why aren't the tankers? Why aren't the shiploads of solar panels and windmills on their way to Cuba to help keep the lights on? Because the communist movement is running out of gas. The reality is a way of doing that. And so, last week, Joe Biden wants to drive reliable energy into a ditch. Just as there are no atheists in foxholes, there are precious few environmentalists whose basic human necessities are lacking. While current elevated gas prices are painful, countries are more energy dependent than the United States are feeling the squeeze. We've talked about this a lot. In March, the Philippines shifted to 4-day work weeks. Slovenia became the first European country to ration fuel, and thousands of gas stations across Australia, which import 90% of its fuel from the Middle East, have run out of fuel. And that's what I want to really point out. Right now, people are really hurting for their oil. They would be rushing to install those. Don't you think that they would be making every effort to keep the lights on? It's expensive and intermittent. And that is why they are looking to the United States today to put the oil flowing in the Strait of Hormuz, because that's what we need. It's amazing how reality wins. But here in the United States, gas prices, even though they've fallen over the last week, still aren't where they need to be. They still need to be lower because President Trump has been able to do that. However, high gas prices compared to rationing, compared to not being able to go to work, compared to factories closing, is a smaller price to pay. It's a small price to pay. It is a smaller price to pay. And it's something to absolutely consider in the current context. And so I'm curious, and I hope you'll pay attention. I know I will. And this Earth Day, we're going to get into a little bit of the history here. It's going to feel a little different, I think, than previous Earth Days. Because, one, as we know, the paid protesters they're all on the ice boat right now. Not, literal. They don't ride boats. They don't ride boats made of ice. But they're all protesting ice, right? And so, if you put on your I'm protesting ice uniform, then your Keep the Earth Safe green uniform has to stay in the closet. And so they're changing the constitutes, and they remind me of, and we've all seen it, right? And this is something that I think would resonate in Missouri right now. Whenever the local team wins Super Bowl or wins the championship or wins the World Series, you see everyone has the hat. There are people who buy the hat of the World Series winning team every year. They have no allegiance. They just want to do that is the paid protester class. They don't care about the environment. I'll absolutely tell you that, because if they did, they would drop that iPhone. They're never going to drop that iPhone. That's how President Xi talks to them through the TikToks. They're never going to give up their iPhone. They're not going to give up their lattes. They're not going to give up their DoorDash. You want to see World War III? Get between a college student and DoorDash right now. Let's follow it. So as Earth Day continues, we're going to get into some fun facts about what people said during the first Earth Day. It's not going to shock you. I don't want you to hear this next segment. Stick with us. You're listening to CSC Talk Radio. Very good info for Bethany. Drawing from her many life experiences and love for God and country. As a young girl, her family moved from the big city to a small rural community where she would grow up, marry her husband, and together raise 5 sons. Along the way, she worked in factories, retail, sales, and medical clinics, and now lights up the airwaves on CSE Talk Radio. As the DC occupiers continue to drive our society into socialism and anarchy, the message to bring America home grows more crucial by the day. Beth Ann brings that message with contagious passion wherever she speaks. Schedule Beth Ann to speak to your group today by calling 573-796-2166.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, the inventor of My Pillow. For the longest time, I've wanted to come out with the world's most comfortable bed sheets. But up until now, I haven't been able to find anything that held up to my high standards. I finally found the best cotton in the world in a region where the Sahara Desert, the Nile River, and the Mediterranean Sea all come together to create the ideal weather conditions for growing cotton. My new Piece of Dream bed sheets are made with this long, staple cotton, and I guarantee they'll be the most comfortable sheets you'll ever own. That first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
The Piece of Dream sheets are available in a variety of colors. And like all of Mike's products, they come with a 60-day money-back guarantee and a 10-year warranty. Right now, you can get your very own by calling 1-800-978-6168 and use the promo code BethAnn to get 30% off plus free shipping.
At CSC Talk Radio, there's always more to say than can fit into the show's 4 segments. But did you know there's a 5th segment? Several times a week, Beth Ann publishes Beyond the Microphone, the 5th segment. And you can get each publication delivered directly to your email for free. Just go to bethanncsttalkradio.substack.com and enter your email address to subscribe. Additionally, when you subscribe, you'll be given the opportunity to support the show with a monthly or yearly contribution you choose. New supporters are always welcome, but you can always subscribe for free. In addition to getting the newest issues delivered to your inbox, you can browse through 100-plus articles on a variety of topics. Just go to bethanncsttalkradio.substack.com to subscribe today and dive deeper into the important topics that bring America home.
For centuries, those words bring people to endless and revered and lauded for what they do. Today, across America, the rights to own criminals are under rights activists and increasingly areas of the law, all of which are outlined specifically in the U.S. Constitution. Protect your animals, your enterprise, and your property with the use of power. With a membership to the Cavalry Group, membership provides immediate access to their team to protect law-abiding animal owners and animal enterprise against unwarranted seizure. They also work to protect their members' interests legislatively at the local, state, and federal levels. Get the shield that protects you, your animals, and your property. Join the Cavalry Group today. Call 855-748-4210 or visit the website at cavalrygroup.com.
Welcome back to the Eton Radio. There again, Thursday, kind of some fun birthday. And so we talked a little bit there about what, why the kind of movement is dying. And part of it, I believe, is because we have so 1970, we had 50 plus years about the excellence that have gone wrong. And it's important to, build your house on that foundation of stand. And so, mostly, I'm going to read some predictions that were around for the first. Everyone who's listening to this is already dead. That's the problem. We are already dead 50 years later. Harvard biologist. So he went to Harvard. So we know it's real. Harvard biologist will end in 15 or 30 years. So that means by 1985 to 2000, unless immediate action is taken against the problems facing mankind. We won! We won, Dr. Wall. We're not all dead. Civilization did not end. Oh my goodness. Although if you do want to like it's at least so maybe we'll get a little bit about that. And here's the thing I want you, if you haven't already, to I'm not gonna say tattoo on your mind, but consider the full. If you don't know who he is